It's like a dream come true for me.
Aw.
Because like I never get replies from people.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Like it's just, do you hit up a lot of people?
I do. Like from time to time I'll shoot my shot if there's like someone I think is cool, or
Like who are these people? Like producers or like directors, or
it's more so like, well, I don't know the last time I did. Actually, someone who's now my friend, I hit her up. She's a musician. Her name is Meta. But I hit her up.
I talked to
her.
her
You met her.
briefly. I asked her to be on the show, but like I think she's busy. Maybe like
She's super busy. I mean, she's like literally a pop star. But I remember meeting her at a party after I had already fallen in love with one of her songs called Mama's Eyes. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it was her that I met at the party. So the next day when I realized it, I sent her a voice memo over DM. And I was like, hey, this might be weird, but we met last night.
I'm a voice messenger too.
Yeah. And I was just
like, it's a hit or miss for me.
Well, I was also like, you know what? I can convey my personality so much better with a voice memo than like a weird, creepy, long message from a stranger. And she never responded because she has like 1 billion followers. So she didn't see it. And then we became friends in real life. And to this day, we have never discussed the voice memo I sent her.
She doesn't know about it?
I think maybe she just like missed it, because I think when you have a lot of followers and someone you don't follow messages you might just never see it. But not that she'd be weirded out now.
When was the message? Like years ago?
This must have been like a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet in real life?
We met, I think, through my brother. My brother met her out at a bar in Silver Lake. And they became friends, and then she became friends with another girlfriend of mine, and it just kind of like snowballed into like the friend group.
That's so fun. How many people are in the group? I miss groups.
Well, there's different groups, you know. There's like my core group of besties, and
Is it the 3-girl entourage situation thing that I always see when I go to the parties? I feel like you're always in a trio.
Oh, I actually was in a trio the first 2 times I saw you, or the only 2 times I've seen you. The second night, Meta was there, the pop star that I was just telling you about. She had the button-down shirt. Or maybe, you met her. And then my friend Misako was there with the braids, and my friend Jules was there. And you had also met Jules at the first party.
Okay.
The tall girl with blue eyes.
Damn, how many friends do you have? Do you think it's like more than 50?
More than 50? Not close friends. I think like really close friends, I probably have 5.
How do you define close?
Well, my therapist likes to talk about concentric circles of friendship, which I love. And she's like, you know, there's like the yolk, and then there's like it's like Saturn's rings, but it's like concentric.
But it's still the egg.
It's still the egg, and you can like move people to different rings if you need to. Because, you know, I've talked to her. I mean, I've had this therapist for years, and I've had friendships where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, and she'll be like, you don't have to end the friendship. You can just move them to a different ring. And I like that, because I don't like to end relationships. I would rather have them transition. But yeah, to define, I guess, how would I define a close friend? It's just the feeling. I think to me at this point, it's like sisterhood. It's like someone who you're like, you can be really real. Yeah, I'm gonna head up a cult soon.
I love cults.
I love cults.
I love like witchy stuff. I love like spiritual like shit. Like I love like I went deep into the law of attraction shit.
Okay, we need to talk about all of this.
Yeah, I'm like I have a love and hate relationship with all of that too.
Yeah,
it's like when things are good, I feel like, okay, I can do this. I can conquer my life. I can really manifest everything. And then when things don't show up, I'm like, this is bullshit. Rhonda Byrne is a scammer.
Rhonda Byrne
is the author of Secret.
Oh, okay. Was The Secret, was that the first thing that, you know,
yeah, I think
interest?
That was the first time.
Me too.
Yeah, and I was like 12 or something. Like, it's just a young, you know, somebody who doesn't know. So like Secret was like the most low barrier thing that I could.
You were 12. You must be a lot younger than me.
I'm
31.
Oh, no. Okay. No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
I was probably just exaggerating. I'm 20, like 8, 9.
I love how you're like, I'm like around 20. I've been forgetting my age recently, which is great.
I don't want to think about it.
I don't really subscribe to aging. I don't subscribe to aging.
I don't want to subscribe to it.
No,
I think I'm just
pretending. I don't think we have to. But yeah, I think the law of attraction stuff, I was just listening to a podcast on the way here with Jessa Reed. Do you know who she is?
No, I'm sorry. I feel like I don't know any of the people. I feel so uneducated.
She's kind of a deep cut. I think it's like very niche, but you would like her because she is a spiritual. I feel like she even wouldn't like to be described as like a spiritual podcaster, but she's so authentic, like keeps it so real, doesn't do any of the like love and light spiritual bypassing bullshit that I think can get really toxic with the law of attraction. And like when spiritualism falls into the hands of the wrong people and it becomes their whole, it's like decoration for their ego to be like, I don't do that. I'm so above that, this or that. And just like in feeling like you have to integrate everything. And it's like, sometimes shit just sucks.
It just changes you.
Yeah.
It changes you. Like you become so inhibited by like what you can think about and can't think about. I felt so like the biggest problem for me when I was like super into law of attraction was I felt so much guilt whenever I kind of went into that spiral of negativity. Yeah. And it's like good to, pop out of it as soon as possible, but it also like kind of exasperated it too.
Mm-hmm. It definitely
like the guilt about the guilt about the guilt,
Do you know about the second arrow?
No, that kind of sounds familiar. It sounds like something that would be mentioned in Taoism books or something.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it's
probably.
something. I think it might be like Taoist or something, but it's the concept of like, say you got really drunk last night and you're hungover. That's the first arrow. Like just the fact that you're hungover and you feel like shit. The second arrow is feeling like shit that you feel like shit. Like putting shame on top of your guilt.
Making it worse.
And like shooting a second arrow into the hole where the first one was. And it's just like a spiritual teaching that's like, don't shoot the second arrow. You can just like feel bad and then not be like, oh no, I'm like creating a vortex of vibration where I'm attracting worse things now and I can't stop because I thought of something bad. It's like, that's one thing I do like about Abraham Hicks is like, or Abraham, I guess, is just the beings, but that you can like stop your momentum. I like that Esther talks about that, like stopping your momentum and just reaching for a better feeling thought. Because she's like, you can't go from feeling miserable to feeling good, but you can go from feeling miserable to feeling sad. And it's like slowly raising your vibration step by step.
She really is nuanced like that. I've always felt like whenever I watch her stuff, it feels a little too extreme personally. So maybe I just didn't deep dive enough. Maybe.
I mean, I've been listening to her stuff since college, which was like 10 years ago. And like on and off, but I feel like I've listened to so much of hers and it's like sometimes I really am getting it and other times I just feel like it's the same shit over and over. But yeah, certain things click with me or will be helpful, but then there are times where I'm just like, nothing will help.
Even books, maybe. Do you like to read about it? I love reading more than like listening, actually, to real life figures.
Yeah, I like reading. I feel like I went through such a long like self-help book, spirituality book phase when I first discovered spirituality, specifically like The Secret and all that, which really I think saved my life in college for real.
Wow, okay.
But I feel like I went through this like voracious, like downloading everything. And then I kind of like
burnt out.
Yeah. And then I was kind of like, whatever. And now I'm back in it, but it's more of like my own cultivating it like within myself rather than reading other people's teachings. Cause I think that's like the next lesson I'm trying to learn is like the trust, just like fully trusting my own intuition instead of like needing someone to teach me what's right.
Yeah, there's something there. Sometimes my intuition turns out to be shit. And then I smoke some weed and then like it feels like intuition gets better.
Do you feel like
I can listen to it and channel into it in a more healthy way?
Yeah. What is that like for you? I mean, do you feel like weed helps you every time?
No, definitely like the most unstable drug. Like sometimes it would give me exactly the opposite of what I'm seeking.
Yeah, like anxiety.
Yeah. Or like racing thoughts.
Yeah, me too.
Like just not being able to. That's why I'm like a huge believer in the mix of like spiritual and practical, like Eastern and Western, you know, yin and yang. So I kind of, like medicate on like a more pharmaceutical level.
Yeah.
And then, you know, use marijuana as aid more than anything. And moderation is so important, which I always forget. Like, just one more, it'll feel so good.
I can't. I used to be such a stoner, and then I just realized, like, I don't have to keep trying if it's just a roll of the dice on whether I'm going to freak out or not, or whether I'm just going to, like, start thinking about the big earthquake.
Oh.
And it's like only every, you know, once in every 10 smokes or, you know, edibles or whatever, am I, like, so inspired and giggling and not feeling worried about, like, who's going to join the hang next? Like, when is the vibe going to shift? Like, I feel so sensitive to stuff like that. But then at the same time, sometimes I feel like my funnest, most creative, most inspired ideas, like downloads, come so easily when I'm high.
Kind of like maybe going to meta here, but it might be that's also one of those things you have to, like, listen to your intuitions too, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, is this the right moment, or should I just, like, you know, like, why knuckle through it with my bare brains?
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess when it boils down to it, everything is probably intuition, but we get so distracted.
Yeah.
Or, like, we're taught to doubt ourselves so much.
Damn, this got deep.
It got deep fast. We can go back up to, like,
no,
shallow.
I think
we can
maybe
do, like,
we
intro
can
stuff.
No, I love deep talk.
Great.
It's
Let's
been a
keep
while.
going. Okay.
I feel like not a lot of people like to talk about the woo-woo shit, or at least the people around me.
Yeah, I love a woo-woo, and I have, like, some close friends who are like, let's go all the way there, and then other really close friends who are like, you're crazy, but we still love each other.
Yeah.
So it's nice to go full woo-woo with people, because I'm like, I could go pretty far.
Really? Let's go.
Okay.
I want to go.
Okay.
I want to go there.
Okay. Are you gonna start, or should I start?
Can you start?
Yeah, let me think of something.
I'm overwhelmed.
Let me think of something I've been like, okay. Recently, I feel like I timeline jumped, or like identity shifted. My identity shifted into a new reality, and I feel like I like literally put on a new
persona,
avatar, or like not avatar because I look the same, but it was like I put in a new, like, program, you know, into, like, the Nintendo.
Like a chip. Yeah,
I put in, like, a new game.
Well, that's so fun.
It was really visceral, and I feel like, again, like, I follow so many of the TikTok witches and of the manifestation people online who
the tarot readers.
I love it. I'm, you know, because I'm always like, why not? It's way more fun to have whimsy. It's so much more fun to believe than to not.
Of course.
Like,
yeah,
it's
sure.
so annoying to me when I dated this guy once, and I said something like, it's a full moon, and he, like, discounted it so fast, and he was like, wow, you mean every 28 to 30 days the moon cycles like it has for blah 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 blah. And I was like, you must have no fun in your life.
Was he not into zodiac signs either?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
He just wasn't ever into anything being like, this could mean more.
Yeah.
He also, like, wasn't into love. Like, he was not, I don't think he really had emotions.
Yeah, that's no fun. That's not a fun relationship.
Fun.
Yeah.
He was funny, but then I was like, oh, you've never felt love.
Yeah, and there's a deeper kind of fun too. Deeper
Right.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Not like ha 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 funny, but like more like, wow, this is nice kind of funny.
Yeah. And on that note, I do think that source, or the universe, or spirit, has, like, such a great sense of humor.
I love to think that.
Because the lessons that she teaches you, sometimes you're like, oh, it's
Cracks
like
you up.
Rafiki from The Lion King.
I always say that life is like anime and cartoon. That makes all the painful moments that much better to withstand, because it's like, you know, when you see animation characters like struggling, it's kind of funny. You're like, ah, you know, like weird sound noises. And if you see your life like that, then it just kind of adds a little humor to it.
Yeah.
So the kind of lens that I'd like to kind of look the world with.
Yeah, I guess that's like kind of simulation theory, right?
In a way, but I'm not really aware of the simulation part too much.
Yeah.
I'm more like, I really get into it. I immerse into it almost the opposite way. Like, you know what? This is a simulation maybe. So I'm going to be part of the simulation wholeheartedly kind of.
Yeah. But
approach.
in a way where you're like choosing your character.
That's another one though. I think I'm going like 180 where I was like kind of experimenting with different personas that weren't really me and then kind of touching back into authentic me.
Yeah.
So maybe in a way kind of the opposite direction from your approach to your characterization.
Well,
like I want to hear more about your chip story.
Yeah,
I changing.
I think that's all actually the same because I feel like I had a kind of a dark night of the soul from like the beginning of this year up until a couple weeks ago. And just a lot of like pain and trauma and like repressed memories and like things that triggered me in my day-to-day life that resulted in reactions that were far more cataclysmic than they should have been to like, so for example, I think what kind of pulled the thread on all this was I was moving apartments. I found my dream apartment. I put like all my energy into it. I did spells. I was like walking around the block with like cinnamon and planting seeds and doing incantations.
I would have like added the energy to it.
I know you would have. I know you would have. And then I didn't get it.
Okay.
And I was like more devastated than I should have been. And I knew that. I was like, why is my reaction to this so... It was as if I had like lost a family member. It was like so much grief and so much heartbreak about just not getting this apartment. And I went deep into it and like EMDR.
How long did this last?
Like weeks. Because that was like the top that blew off of like all this gunk that I had to let out.
You know what? Actually, I can relate. It's a trigger.
Yeah.
It's a trigger. It just opens up the gate. It's not that event in and of itself, but it's that just enabling all the other things to flood out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all that darkness, like I won't get into the details, but it was just like one of the hardest times I've had since, I feel like since college when I was saying that I watched The Secret and it saved my life. I was like, whoa, I feel like I haven't been like this deep and dark. But then I remembered that I had asked my spirit guides to basically like let her rip because I had felt like I had this plexiglass separator between like my deep emotions and my shallow emotions, and I couldn't access the deep ones for a long time. And I think then my spirit guides heard me ask for this and they were like, okay, here you go. So it's like
dirty
bitch.
water running.
Yeah. And so like all this gunk was coming out, and then, you know, it got lighter and lighter as I just like kept letting it out. And then a couple of weeks ago on the Scorpio full moon, I took a little mushroom micro. I did a bunch of journaling, and I was reflecting a lot on like my relationship and how like that had pulled up like triggers for me and like why I'm reacting the way I'm reacting. And I was trying to be like, I'm going to relate to things differently. I need to like not be in this cycle anymore. Or I'm noticing that I keep saying to myself like, this keeps happening to me, or like these type of people keep hurting me. And that's the exact cycle that it's like, you have to eventually take responsibility for it and be like, what part am I playing that makes this keep happening? And for some reason on this full moon, when I did this microdose, I had all these realizations, and I was like, I have been wearing all these masks and like masquerading as all these different people, which I think is a very Libra thing to do, by the way.
Are you Libra?
Yeah.
Why is everybody Libra? I'm so jealous.
What are you?
Virgo.
I love a Virgo. My mom's a Virgo.
Oh.
I think Virgos are great.
I don't know. I hate being a Virgo.
Why?
I'm too insecure all the time.
Because you're a perfectionist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never feel good enough. But it's okay. Damn, I'm so glad that you're Libra, though.
Well, Libras my Venus is in Virgo, which is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole art.
My Venus is in Virgo, too. Wait, actually, sorry, it's Leo.
Oh, that's
so I
cool.
Fuck.
Yeah, nice. Way to go. Yeah, my Venus in Virgo, I've learned is like when it's in Virgo, it's in its detriment. Where like Virgo is the sign that Venus hates to be in the most.
Really?
Because it's so particular. Venus is like beauty and flow, and Virgo is like being fucking precise.
Yeah.
So like Martha Stewart has a Venus in Virgo. It's like perfection in your art. So that does mean that like my house is always clean. But it also means that I can get like really nitpicky about how my partner behaves. And I'm like, what if I just let him do his thing? Like, why don't I?
Only in relationships?
In a lot of relationships, well, but it can be in love in any way, or in beauty. I had like, and who didn't?
What's your Mars?
I think my Mars is Scorpio.
What's your moon? Sorry, I keep asking.
My moon is Pisces. My rising is Scorpio. Let's find my Mars.
Yeah, Pisces are chill. I love that.
It's funny when you like, you know how you like assign certain people in your life to certain signs, and then you might judge the sign based on like that type of person sucking.
I am kind of guilty of doing that.
Me too.
I try not to though. Like at the end of the day, this is like, it's just a spirituality thing, and you don't want it to be the only judging element of other people.
Totally.
That's why I like to back it up with other practical data like MBTIs and stuff.
What's MBTIs?
MBTIs are like this 4-letter acronym test where it kind of basically goes into 4 categories of either one of whatever that it represents. So it's like I am INFJ.
Oh, those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the MBTIs.
I've definitely taken that, and I always, every time I take it, I forget what I am.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to memorize.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what all the alphabets stand for either.
Isn't it? So I is like intuitive, right?
I is introvert.
Oh, introvert.
And E is extrovert. And that's honestly all I care about.
Yeah. I think
But I still subscribe more to the zodiac stuff more.
The zodiac
just
stuff is
more
cool.
Fun.
It's really fun. What's your boyfriend's sign?
Pisces. Pisces and Pisces sun and Scorpio moon. We're both Scorpio moons.
Wow, that's very intuitive.
Intuitive, but also like intense as hell.
Yeah, that's cool though. I love a Scorpio too.
Yeah, Scorpios are cool.
Every sign can have something good, but my friend was joking the other day.
Libra's the best.
Like, thanks. A lot of people don't like Libras.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I think because like we're so charming and beautiful that everyone's just jealous.
Yeah, exactly. I told you, like, I'm jealous.
No, I think it's because people think Libras can be fake because they want to keep the peace so bad that they won't say how they're actually feeling.
Yeah.
Which was part of my awakening because I'm a Scorpio rising, and I was kind of like, I'm feeling more like a Scorpio, and I need to like fucking stop it with the people pleasing and the not speaking my truth and not freaking out if I need to freak out and not giving a shit anymore what people think of me. Obviously easier said than done, and being like someone who posts on social media a lot, it's hard, but I feel like the timeline jumped because something just like snapped. It wasn't me being like, I shouldn't care or like I shouldn't people please. It was like I like embodied that person. And again, it's not like I never care again what anyone thinks. But it was just like this visceral shift of like, maybe I just finally burnt myself out on being anything but like my truest self in every moment.
So out of the 3 signs, if you could pick one sign, sun, moon, or rising, that you feel like you resonate the most right now, what would it be?
Right now, I think I'm in my Scorpio.
Rising?
In my
phase?
Scorpio rising.
And is that like a comfortable place to be, or like an aspirational?
I think it's aspirational.
To move more towards your moon or your sun? Or?
No, I think to move from my sun more towards my rising. So to move from Libra more towards Scorpio.
Okay. I'm glad that you said it that because I have this theory that rising signs are supposed to be the ones that you're supposed to like aspire to.
Yeah.
Like my rising sign is Libra.
And it is?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so why are you jealous of Libras? You're basically Libra.
But rising signs are not really the sign that you resonate with personally. That's what the moons are. Rising is how other people view you. So it's convenient in social cases if it's something that is, it's a good sign that you like.
Yeah.
But inside you're dying. Like I'm dying. And Libras don't die inside when they're being all charming and all that. But I kind of die a little bit. I try so hard.
Wait, you die inside when you're being a Libra or when you're being a Virgo?
It's more like people think that I'm so natural when it comes to socializing, which is like a Libra trait. But
I see.
I'm actually like really insecure and very Virgo, basically, and Scorpio.
I mean, we have similar charts actually. But you don't come across, I mean, I know this is only the third time we've hung out, but you don't come across as, well, maybe you just hide it well, but that you're dying inside.
I love hearing about how other people perceive me, because I've lost sense of my own self.
Okay, let me tell you.
So long ago that it's just nice and refreshing.
I love how you're like, I lost the sense of myself so long ago.
I'll give it to yours too.
Okay,
if
so
you'd like.
Yeah, so my first sense of you, well, you DM'd me. And I immediately like looked at your Instagram and I was like, this bitch is so cool. And I listened to your music and I was like, what the fuck? Which I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
All of your music. Your music was sick. Your style was cool. You're so beautiful. And then you came. I invited you to my party and you came. Which is also what I love about social media, because I've made some really cool friendships online where I'm just like, someone's got to shoot their shot. And then like, you know.
And once it's physical, then it becomes easier to be in loop.
Yeah, but I just think it's cool when people, especially in this day and age where people are it's so easy to be separated from each other and communities and like going into new spaces. But I love that you and Benji just like showed up and you had your cool outfit on and you just like came and you were like happy to be there and it was fun.
Yeah, we need more events like those.
And then to see you again at the next party, it was very European.
Yeah, house party vibes.
Yeah, that was a really good party.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first impression is just like cool artist, doing your own thing, independent, funky. You have your own expression, your own style. It would never occur to me, of course, then you told me, but that you're dying inside, to quote yourself.
Yeah. I'm always dying a little bit inside. It's sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You are like just a Libra, I feel like. There's no other way to like describe it almost.
I do feel like one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
charming,
pretty aware that
and it's all about a good time. Yeah. Yeah, just always a good time and chill. Are you bent on successfulness?
Oh, yes, bitch.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, sick. Let's get into that too.
Yeah.
And also thank you for what you said. That's very kind. But I can also relate to dying inside. And that was another, going back to my spiritual awakening, was just being like, I need to stop pretending that I'm like chill or cool with things when I'm not.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay if my friends like see me upset.
It's okay.
And it's okay if I'm like mad
and if
about
they
something
leave,
and say
then
it.
that just means that they're not good enough to be
exactly
friends.
And we can like put these things into practice. I was actually thinking about this earlier today, I think because I was just DMing with my friend Jenny, but I was at a party last summer with my dear friend D'Anthony, who is an incredible musician. Shout out D'Anthony. He's hosting a show tomorrow at the Goldfish in LA, and I'm going to if you're free. He had a birthday party and it was a board game themed party, and I did not want to learn a board game. I just wanted to go and socialize. And when I got there, I was put into the orientation table where I was going to learn all the rules, and it was kind of a LARPing. I think it's a game he made up too. I mean, he's like a brilliant genius. But I was sitting at this table and like listening to the instructions, and inside I was like, this is going to be hell. And then I was like, wait, I don't need to, no one's forcing me to play this game. And I like kind of just stood up and I was like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is not resonating with my joy, and I don't want to learn the rules, and I don't want to play this game. And everyone, because it's like also a community of like free flowing, loving artist people, everyone was like, we totally honor that, queen.
Wow.
Like, go do your thing. And then my friend Jenny too, they were like, I also don't want to learn the instructions. And then me and Jenny just played hide and seek together.
That's so fun. Hide and seek. It must have been a nice house.
It was a big, like, it was a backyard and there was a back house and stuff.
Fun.
And it was a really sweet reminder that if I had a party and I had a friend that felt like they were being forced to like do the activity, I would not want them to have to do it. So it's like, why do we put ourselves in these positions where we're like, I'll just be polite and suffer?
You
It's
only
literally
live
a
once.
board game.
You only live once. Maybe in my case, I don't hold back either when I don't really like want to do something. But the way I would do it is rather than make an announcement about it, I would try to find the most discreet way of stepping out. That's how
cool.
I would approach it.
That's very classy.
It's not even that classy. I just don't want to offend anyone. I hate the idea of potentially offending anyone.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think we need to just be like, fuck it. You're going to eventually.
You gotta be a little bit bitchy in
Totally.
life. I have so much trouble with that.
Well, especially if it's like what you brought up about being hell-bent on success. Then you gotta be.
Like at that party, the first party that we went to and met for the first time, there was this guy that I was like pissed at that point. And there was this guy, sat down, this big dude, just this big dude, like big chains. He looked like a rapper or something.
Yeah.
And the Scoops, the guy that I met there, he was like, Sue, come here. I want to introduce you to somebody. And when somebody says that, you feel like, you can't help but feel like this somebody is special, like influential or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It was some, no, I don't want to say Diddy. It's just, it was awkward because I like sat down. I'm like awkward. Nobody said anything. I thought I would get introduced or something, but we just sat there. So I was like, I started blabbering, and I thought I offended him. So he just walked away as soon as I started talking.
What?
And then he came back.
Strange.
And then I started crying.
You started crying?
Yeah, because I miss Mom.
You missed your mom?
Yeah,
Aww.
and I think I made him uncomfortable.
Well, then he can get uncomfortable. I feel like parties like that too are such a bad. They can be like such a bad, like nurturing ground for any type of new relationship, because like you don't know what drugs people are on. You don't know what vibe people are on, and then also when someone's like, "I want you to meet someone," it's okay if you're kind of like, I don't want.
It's work too. So like if
so much work.
Yeah. I talked to ChatGPT about it a fair bit after the party, and it just said it's a party, not an audition,
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
You're at a party, you're there to just have fun. And
so
forget about it
true.
the next day.
Oh, I'm sorry you missed your mom though. Where is she?
She's back in South Korea with my little sister, so I'm the only one out here. So
oh my God,
immigration's so hard.
Jesus, I know.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends going through that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really hard. I just tell people that I'm good at faking being an American.
You are.
Thank you.
I mean, if that's what you want.
Oh, yeah. Dude, just going back to like the manifestation things, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, I still very much believe in it, by the way, for the record, because I used to pray all the time when I was like 10, 11, that I would one day be fluent in English so much that Americans would think that I'm an American. And at the time, I didn't know what an eraser was in English.
Oh my God.
And like, I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I just studied my ass off and I did my work, and it's here. And I wanted to live in California. So like nothing is perfect, obviously. Like I'm still chasing after my dreams. I'm so insecure about like getting older and all that. But I feel like life couldn't be any better because all of the stuff that I prayed for came true. So it makes me hopeful that if I just keep doing the same thing, it'll happen.
That's so incredible. I mean, yeah, look where you are now because you set something into motion as a child. And then it's almost like the programming just like takes on a mind of its own behind the scenes, and you don't even have to.
You forget about it too.
And I think it's better to forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in South Korea, did they teach you English in school? Like it's mandatory, right?
It's mandatory, but I don't think you could get to a very advanced level unless you study in your own time.
Wow.
Or go to like an academy or something.
Wow.
Because it's only like 1 hour once or twice a week,
Yeah. That's how our
reading.
schooling was. But I mean, obviously in the US, they don't prioritize any other culture or language at all. But we
Chinese,
had.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, in
French?
school, I mean, like languages. Now I think a lot of kids, or maybe just because we're in California, they're all required to learn Spanish. And I took enough Spanish because I was a goal of mine to be fluent in Spanish too. And I took enough Spanish and practiced on my own enough to be, and I did become fluent. And then since then I've forgotten it because it's been so long. But that's really cool. Was it as a kid too? You were like, I want to move to California?
I used to live in Boston I lived in Boston for a year and a half with my family when I was like 13, 14. And ever since I was like hooked.
Wow. And what about it? Like the music industry or pursuing art?
I didn't want to be a musician until I graduated college.
And what did you study in college?
Graphic design.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I made the mistake of steering into like advertising. That was a huge mistake. I think it kind of fizzled out my passion for any design stuff.
Yeah.
And I got really jinxed and all that. And I just don't like corporate jobs. I don't like that.
I couldn't.
I couldn't do that.
No, I think it would just ruin me. I think I would just like end up quitting. Like also every job that I've had, obviously this is like a privileged position, but all of my part-time jobs that I've had in LA, I eventually would just quit without like a new prospect, and then I would get a new one. But they would just become so mind-numbing to me that I would just have to leave. And then it was just like, then I would go be a nanny again, and then I would go be a bartender again, and then I would go be a nanny again, and then I would be a waitress again. And then one day eventually I was like, I need to quit nannying once and for all and just like bank on myself doing art.
Oh yeah.
And that was really scary. And then I still had to get another part-time job because I like wasn't making money.
Yeah.
But it is cool how you slowly, like, I remember as a kid when I first visited California with my family, I was like, I'm going to move here someday. And
Where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I always wanted to be an actress since I was a
Really?
young
Okay.
child. I was always like, I'm going to be a freaking movie star.
Oh, finally, we're talking
bitch.
about acting stuff because I'm so curious.
I know, but I'm like, we could talk about, seems like we could maybe have like a 10-hour podcast episode.
I know, but maybe we can like, keep that window and
Yeah.
then keep ourselves wanting a little more. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I feel like I could just go on and on too.
I know this is turning into like a really great
It's fun.
friendship.
Oh.
So I had this experience with this man at an art gallery in like fucking Big Sur or something, who now in retrospect is just like a man who wanted to be an artist and didn't let himself and was like projecting his bitterness onto a young child. But I remember him being like, are you like in California? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to move here someday. And he was like, oh, well, you better make a lot of money then. It's really hard to live here. And I was like 7.
He was probably just bitter.
Oh,
Yeah.
anyone who shoots you down, and that's
Yeah,
a
you don't
beautiful
say
lesson
that
to
to a
learn
kid.
too. I mean, especially to a kid.
Were you down?
I just remember being like, oh, that's not like really the reaction that I thought. Like I thought he was going to be like, that's so great. It'll be great to have you. But he was like, you better make a lot of money, kid.
It's relatable though, because we've all been there where we were like super cynical about stuff. And I would totally have said that to a 7-year-old kid. But, looking like you can't be cynical. That's not a way to live. That's no way to live.
No, but I do think, is there something you're still really cynical about?
No, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to look at everything as like a sign and a message to
Yeah.
just keep pursuing.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that. Good for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would like to embrace that more. I think I'm mostly optimistic, but I feel like I think it was last year I made it.
Oh, wait, actually followers. Numbers stress me out. It does stress me out.
Like it's hard to get them.
And I can't help but feel like I did something wrong if like the follower counts go down. Although there could be like millions of reasons why people stop using it, people are bots or whatever.
No, but it's very disheartening.
It is.
Especially in music too, because you're like, what do I like? People will just catch a random break on TikTok and go viral, and then they get signed to a label, and then they're opening for Lola Young, or they are Lola Young, and she's so talented. I love her, but it's like there are so many friends of mine who are incredible artists, and I'm like, they just like are we all gonna catch a lucky break? Because it's sad to think about how, like, is it really just a lucky break for some people?
I'd like to believe that there are, because there are enough opportunities for people. There are enough demand for all of us to, in some form or another, be fulfilled in whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're so different. We're all so different.
Yeah, we all have something so unique to
And
give.
even without that whole diversity politics shit like falling apart, I think the world is not the same now that we got the Asians, we got the more recognition and other like, you know, just we want more unique faces, masks and personalities and fandom.
Yeah.
So more than ever, I feel like it's less of a concern.
I think so too. And I think it's more, people are more eager to be accepting of other experiences and cultures and races and people who are creating online and in music in general because of social media and because of how widespread, how like global sharing has become. And that's also why I have like a lot of faith in the youths. And sometimes I'm like, you guys are so annoying, the Gen Zs. But other times I'm like, okay, I have a lot of faith because there's such like an equanimity amongst them. And it's also, I think, especially in the film and TV industry, but whether or not it's like from an authentic place, it still benefits everybody, but it like looks cool to be inclusive now. And people really want to look cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's, even though it's not coming from like an authentic place of inclusion, it eventually swallows up a large group of people to then realize like, oh, I do like learning about all different types of people and all unique viewpoints rather than just like every skinny white girl who's like, here's the bikini
it's
I'm
not
wearing.
Cool anymore to do that.
No.
Have you watched that? Have you watched The Studio?
No, I haven't.
There's a really funny episode about like the casting process of the studio heads, and it's basically all about that. It's like, we need more diversity. Yeah. Diversity is cool.
Oh my gosh. I've been in a couple meetings recently where I feel like I might even...
Oh, you don't have to say it.
Well...
Don't say it.
I won't say it.
Don't risk anything.
But it's just very obvious.
Yeah.
The tokenism is very obvious. Mm-hmm. And then other people are like, well, there have always been talented people of all shapes and sizes. It's not just like a new concept. But yeah, I feel like I can't. When we're off the air, I'll tell you the specifics.
Is it hard? Do you think it's harder to get actually roles as like a white person? Because I feel like it almost kind of went too far. They made the Little Mermaid black and Snow White as Spanish, I think.
Yeah, I loved that though. But I think that it's like they cast brilliant, talented actors and like period. And like, yes, they were aiming to be more inclusive and they achieved it. Mm-hmm. And the performers were also like incredibly deserving because they're, they've like made names for that. I mean, I didn't see Snow White. I heard it was really bad. But I love the new Little Mermaid. And I don't think it's gone too far. And I don't think that it's harder for white people to get roles now. I think now it's just like a more even playing field. I think it's probably still easier for white people to get roles.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think it's easy to get roles in general. Like, I've never found it easy to get roles. Or if I'm manifesting, it's incredibly easy for me to get many fulfilling roles all the time.
You will.
And I will. And I did just see a psychic who gave me an incredible reading on that. But no, I think just all of it is shifting. And all the success that I've been able to find has just been through making my own stuff. It's almost never been through auditioning. How do you feel
about the DIY stuff, though? Like, I feel like everybody's DIYing now. That it kind of lost its novelty and it just becomes the motion almost.
I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with it because it's the reason that I've had like any success in the past couple of years. Mm-hmm.
So you can't discredit it, obviously.
No, it really has changed my life.
But it's hard work. It's a lot of work.
It's so much work. And I'll go through like a year of being burnt out and not wanting to make anything and feeling discouraged, with the thing you were saying about followers. Yeah. Or being like, I'm like writing sketches.
It's a full-time gig,
playing all the roles. Yeah. That's like, people get paid a salary to do that. And I'm putting all this shit out for free. And so are so many artists. So it can get really discouraging because I'm like, the paradigm that we've created is so grueling for artists and so many people who put their heart and souls into things and just are expected to like be these content machines and have a paying job.
I feel like with actors, it's harder too, because musicians, they kind of have this goal of, okay, if I make this a hit, then I will have a solid revenue. Whereas actors, I feel like they're kind of in this predicament where like you have to be part of a project in order to actually get some income.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is the point of doing the self-made things, you know?
Well, that's the thing, is like you hope that you can make enough of the self-made things to get noticed by someone who wants to represent you or who wants to cast you in something, and then you'll get money for it.
Are you looking for a representation currently?
I'm currently looking for representation. Where's the camera?
Look at this girl.
I'm currently looking for representation.
Guys, you're missing out.
No, I've had reps over the years and like meetings that have fallen through, and that's another reason that I leaned so far into making my own stuff, because I was like, you know what? I don't know if it's because I'm 6 feet tall. I don't know if it's because I have like huge curly hair. I don't know what it is that has seemed to make me like unplaceable in mainstream media, and that had made it so hard for me to get repped.
You're so beautiful. Like you.
Thank you.
I want to be specific though, because I feel like everybody says you're beautiful, but like you got that, like that cool chill girl.
That is so
vibes.
funny.
Do you know Igby Goes Down?
No.
She's got a new movie out, but she's kind of like quite old now, but she has like curly, puffy hair.
Oh my God, Igby Goes Down. That is so okay. We have to talk about the chill cool girl thing too, because my best friend always tells me this, and she's like, "You're like a cool girl."
Yeah,
and I'm so not. I so don't embody that in my own perspective, just because of like the way I grew up and like the way I was like treated in school amongst my peers. Like I was not.
Yeah, that can affect
a cool girl, and now I think it's like also just like the mantra work of being like, you know, I am cool. Like I do have something to offer. So I receive your compliment and thank you very much. But you know, when someone like gives you a read that you're so like, that's so not how I see myself.
Yeah.
But then in another way, it's
actually,
like,
don't mean to come across crass, but I meant more like literally just purely your physical.
Oh, sick.
Not that, but it's like, like, you know what? I could hate you, but you can't hate me kind of vibe.
Oh.
I'm irresistible.
Oh my God.
But not like a bitch.
I'm blushing. Well, I mean.
Do you feel insecure about your looks? Like I do. Like
sometimes.
I want to get so much work done.
You do?
Yeah.
See, that's so surprising. I mean, it's not surprising because I think just like being a woman in this landscape, yes, of course you really compare yourself. Yeah. But I mean, then I look at you and I'm like, you are a perfect, beautiful angel.
You know, it's also very funny because I want work done where it's not possible to get work done. Like I want a higher head.
Like you want to be taller?
No. Like I want
your forehead to be longer.
This is like a weird Asian beauty standard that's like on the rise. But I want like a smaller forehead and a bigger head.
Okay.
Like a bigger like top head part, and that's covered with hair.
And that's not a possible thing to get, right?
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I was gonna also ask you because I know like Korean beauty is like,
it's crazy.
Pushes out all beauty standards.
Everybody's
like,
anorexic
everywhere.
In South Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah. So I'm sure, I mean, do you feel like that's like affected you super deeply your whole life? And
my whole life. Yeah. It's like that age that you said you were, you know, in school, that age when you spend that much time immersed into the dogma, whatever that is, it just gets distilled deeply into your psyche.
Totally. And do you feel like your family has perpetuated that too? Like, is everybody kind of subscribed to the beauty standard?
It's just purely coming from my interpretation of the culture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of like what you're seeing on your feed too?
Oh yeah.
And like Korean women who you're like, I
yeah, the media.
Like yeah.
The media, like inspos. Do you like how you look?
I do mostly.
Okay, that's good.
And it took a long time. But I do. And I've always had like, you know, it's always like ups and downs. But I think I also just like think being in my 30s and also being around the people that I've put myself around, like I feel really grateful to have friends who are all just like about so much more than like what we're looking like and what we're wearing. And like all my friends I also perceive as like incredibly beautiful and hot and cool. But I, of course, have days where like, you know, my eating disorder from college is like knocking on my door. Yeah. Or like days where you're like, oof, I really can't.
Yeah, girly,
like,
I've
show
been there.
My face.
I was like 50 pounds or something crazy, like 60 pounds at one point.
Oh,
yeah,
so
it was
sorry.
really bad.
I know how it got really, really bad.
And then
for
it
me
bounced
too.
back to bulimia. So it was like a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, eating disorders are no easy. It's not a pretty sight.
No, it's brutal. Yeah. And it's sneaky.
Do you feel like you still have like remnants of it too?
I think so. I think like the demons can come knocking from time to time, but I do think I like burnt myself out on it so hard. I was never bulimic because I'm so afraid of throwing up. I'm so deeply afraid of vomiting.
Me too. I exercised it off. Okay. That's how I became, how I was bulimic.
Yeah. Mine was kind of that and like the starving element, you know, like we've all done it. And going to theater school too. I went to acting school and the whole culture there was like competitively skinny.
Oh shit.
And the teachers too. I had a horrible, evil teacher one time who called me out in the hallway in front of a bunch of my other students and was like, hey, you've lost enough weight. We have enough anorexics and bulimics running around here in front of everybody. And I was like in the depth of my experience with that.
Wait, how old were you?
I must have been like 19 or 20.
Oh man, that's brutal.
And it was like, I was also in the part of it where I was still in denial that anything was wrong. Like I didn't know that I had an eating disorder.
And did anybody like show their concerns? Because for me, it was the concerns of others that made me feel like, okay, this is kind of crazy. Maybe this is kind of crazy after all.
Yeah, eventually people did. But it was a lot of like, I think people talking about me when I wasn't there before I had a couple friends and a trusted teacher be like, what's going on? And even then I was like,
cool
nothing.
Teacher right there.
Oh, she was so cool, Trudy. But it really nothing took me out of it until I freaking watched The Secret. Because it was all due to like depression, you know? It was not, it wasn't even that much like, I was never consciously like, I'm going to get as skinny as possible.
I always have this belief that depression, anorexia, anxiety, paranoia, OCD, all of this stems from the same thing. It's all the same. It's a different expression of the same thing. Stress and like
fear,
dissatisfaction, fear, all that, you know?
Yeah.
I was going to say something. I always wanted to know this, but I once read that anorexia is basically a form of OCD.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me too, because there were these like crazy habits and rituals that I would do when I was anorexic that looking back is so ridiculous that I feel like that's what burnt me out too from anorexia. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm never doing that again. Yeah. I want to know if you had that too. Like for me, it was checking the mirror or any reflections. It could be like a window when I'm walking down the street, checking to see my calves, if my calves are thin enough.
Whoa, your calves.
So I would like lift up my pants whenever I see a reflection of any sort and I would check it.
Wow. I never did that. I never did the calves. But I would definitely have a lot of like, you know, making sure things were in order or like making sure I had the right, you know, making sure I felt like clean enough or that I had the right, I mean, a lot of it manifested as food. So like the right healthy snacks enough throughout the day. And if I'm going to have like this, then I should walk home instead of take the train. If I'm going to have like a latte, then I should, you know, just like measuring, you know, checks and balances and stuff like that. And of course I would just like check my abs or like just check my belly.
Right.
Just to be like, am I still like so skinny that it's scary to look at me? Yeah. All good. Like, yeah, I feel so bad for that girl too. You know, like our past selves.
Yeah.
Cause it's
a lot of wasted years on, I don't want to say wasted actually, because that's a cynical way of viewing it. Because I'm sure you learned something out of it too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we both have grown.
It's definitely not the best way to live.
No, it was horrible.
Yeah, it was not good.
It was horrible, and that's why I do feel like you know, on days, if I'm like just not feeling my body, it never, thankfully, never anymore manifests as like I should punish myself somehow. It's more so like I'll remind myself to be gentle about it. Like if I want to work out, do it because it'll make me feel better mentally. And thankfully have not done the skip a meal thing since my college years. Or I probably have since then.
I still binge a little bit.
Yeah, I mean there are times where it's just like, you know, it just happens. And then do you feel like you're good at, you know, forgiving yourself or like recovering from it?
Not at all.
You beat yourself up for it.
I have to make up for something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still do. Like not just food wise, but work wise too. I'm such a workaholic that if I have like one day where I just rest, which is completely acceptable, I have to make up for the next day or the next week.
Yeah, sometime. Like productivity addiction. I have that too.
Like I make checklists. I have like at least 10 things that I check off. Like even to the point of like clipping my nails, doing the dishes.
Yeah, very Virgo of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that makes me think of your question about, you know, being hell-bent on success. Because I want to know what you're...
Are you okay for this topic to be like the one that we leave off on as well?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to.
Yeah. What do you mean, like end it out on?
Yeah, because I think our hour's almost up.
Oh my God, already? You're right. Yeah, unless there was something else that you would rather talk about.
No, I would just love to have you back, maybe.
Yeah, I would definitely come back. Okay. Well, I was curious about your take on it. Like as a music, is it for music? Is that your...
Basically, mainly for music right now. The thing is though, music only because it's realistically the most viable route to success for me right now, but I love showbiz in general.
Yeah.
So like I just love that showbiz merges all sorts of sectors, like acting, even sports, like singing, talk shows, and comedy. It all merges together, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if somebody comes in and like, I don't know, Spike Jones comes in and is like, you're the one. Okay, I'm going to just leave music. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm chill about that.
We're going to make you a star.
I'm following you.
But do you feel like there would still be a part of your soul, like say you become a huge movie star, do you think there would still be a part of your soul that's like, I miss music? Like you would still want to make it just for fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, especially if I had like more collaborators. Making music by yourself is a little closer to torture than it is an enjoyable experience.
Because you produce everything yourself, right? That is so
It's a lot.
That's so cool.
It's not fun.
I mean, I don't think I would like it, but my brother's a producer and my boyfriend, and they both really like it. But every time I watch them doing it, I'm like, this looks horrible to me. Well, no, actually, my friend Lillian, who I think you would really... She was at the party, too. Maybe you guys met. She's an insane music producer, and she
girl
loves
producers.
It. You guys should work together.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Like you're kind of like, you want to just be a star in any media form. And I don't mean that in a cheap way of like, you just want to be famous.
Okay, there is one catch though. This is why I feel like as much as I like the idea of being an actress, I feel like it's not really the right thing for me because I can't lie. I'm a terrible liar. And like acting, I feel like always involves a little bit of lying, like in a artistic way. And I'm not good at faking it. When I'm sad, when I'm angry, you can tell.
I think that would help you with acting.
Think so?
Yeah, because you have access to your emotions.
Yeah, but I'm not flexible about it. When I'm feeling something, I can't just switch to something else.
So like if you showed up on set and you were like really heartbroken, you couldn't do like a comedy
maybe I
scene.
could pretend, like maybe try to mask it up as much as possible. It's just I'm so hyper aware of reality that I don't know if I'll be able to go so deep down into a role to a point where I lose sight of the fact that I am about to simulate sex with this guy that I've never talked to before or like never really like merged.
Well, I think it just depends on your style of acting too. You know, like you can
be a Dwayne Johnson where you can just be yourself.
Yeah, you could just be Sue.
Yeah.
Sue,
that would be
starring
sweet.
Sue as
that would
Sue.
be sweet.
But I think that there's like method acting like that where you just completely embody it, like Jim Carrey. Have you seen Jim and Andy?
Oh no, I've heard about it though.
You gotta
The
watch
friendship
that.
one, right? Between
No, that's or you mean the Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson one?
is it Paul Rudd? I'm pretty sure it was Jim Carrey, but it's okay.
No, I thought there's a movie out called Friendship with Tim Robinson and Paul
Oh
Rudd.
no. It was a documentary though, right? That one.
Yeah, it was a documentary, Jim and Andy.
Yeah.
Insane, because Jim Carrey like basically loses his whole identity and like channels Andy Kaufman. It's nuts. I don't necessarily think that that's a super healthy way to like be an actor, and especially when you're on set with people who think they're method actors, it can become really dangerous because that's their excuse to just like be the character, and it's like they're discounting that other people are living like a real reality. So that always kind of concerns me, and especially I think I forget who it was, like maybe like Laurence Olivier and it's not Anthony Hopkins. Who's the guy that was in The Graduate? Why can't I remember his name? Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, okay.
Dustin Hoffman. I think he was like trying to do some crazy method acting thing, and this other, I'm butchering this story. Was it Marlon Brando? I don't know, but someone was like, that's why it's called acting, because he was trying to like exhaust himself so he would actually show up exhausted on screen, like didn't sleep for days. And this other like very seasoned like award-winning actor was like, you don't have to do that. That's why it's called acting.
Yeah,
like you can just act that way.
I've always thought the coolest type of actors are the ones who can switch it like that. Like I once saw this like behind like B-roll of Jennifer Lawrence shooting for an arrow shooting scene in what's that movie where she's Hunger Games. Yeah. And she was basically like, ha ha ha, do kangaroos have sex and shit? And then she just like action, then she just switched to a different person. Yeah. Just like that, and she starts shooting air, and it's so cool. Yeah. That someone can do that. And I'm like, I used to think that if you are bipolar like that, then it's like people will think you're crazy. But seeing it as a third party person, like, it's so cool.
Yeah, I think it can just be like a technical skill.
Like obviously in a professional setting.
Yeah, definitely a professional setting. Yeah. But I do think it's like definitely a technical skill that I've seen people do on set a lot, and I always appreciate those actors who are like, you know, you can leave your baggage at the door, you can come and do the scene, you can do the drama or whatever, the intensity, the violence or whatever, and then when they call cut, you just drop it. I think that's like the most professional type of actor, because a lot of people I think too will like milk it and be like the tortured, like, I had a really hard scene and I'm gonna go home now and like be a bitch to my wife.
Yeah, I'm very affected by that scene.
It's like, that's your job, bro. Yeah. Like, drop it. But what were you saying about all that? Oh, that it was hard for you to lie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe you'd be good at it. Not lying.
I'd be willing to try. I'd be willing to always try. But I want to see you act. Like, I wonder what you're like when you're acting.
I can show you. I can show you the films I've been in.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Do you have like one of those, I don't know what they're called, reels?
Yeah, I have a reel.
Yeah.
I have a reel. I did, my first acting job was Chicago PD when I lived in Chicago. Wow. And I played a murdered prostitute. A murdered sex worker, excuse me.
Was that fun? That sounds like a fun role.
It was really fun, but it was so cold outside, and I was like pushed off a hotel balcony onto a car, and I was like in lingerie on top of a car at like 1 a.m. in Chicago in the winter. And that was hard, but it was such a cool experience. But I love, I mean, I do mostly comedy things, and that's mostly what I'm like cast in or asked to audition for these days, because my social media is so comedy forward.
But are you okay with that?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I think my dream is to do something like
Friends,
The Office. Yeah, like an ensemble-based comedic
TV
like show.
I used to think like being in Dune, being in like big blockbuster movies.
Sick too.
Well, that'd be sick too. I used to think those are like the peak experience as an actor, but now I see like Oh man, Friends cast was paid $1 million per episode and they still just got to hang out.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a sweet gig too, you know?
Oh, and they're still getting insane royalties checks all the time. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than doing like comedy, you know, smart, well-written comedy with a really talented cast, I think that's the biggest thing for me is getting to act with other actors who can like hit it back. You know, it's like a really nice game of ping pong. Yeah. I also would love to be like a fucking Marvel supervillain. I think I would be such a good villain.
You would.
I want to be a villain in anything.
Yeah, you would be a good villain.
Yeah. Because I'm like tall.
Yeah,
because I'm like tall and I have some like masculine qualities, and I think I'm just like a villain. I want that so bad. And I think it would help me like process a lot of like expression,
pent up something.
Yeah, I think it would be like a healthy way for me to be like, no, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, I've always thought it must be nice to just have a channel like that. When I see villains being violent, like a channel like that where you can just scream off the top of your lungs for once. Yeah, you know,
so therapeutic. You can like smash shit.
Oh yeah, like like that looks. Those kinds of scenes where you're like wrecking the whole room. Wow, that looks fun.
Oh my god, that'd be so.
I've heard an actress say once like, oh, it was so exhausting, but I'm like, bitch, shut up, it sounds fun.
Yeah, well, I guess though, I mean, if you have to do like 50 takes of it,
maybe
that would suck. That would suck.
That's true. They said that the Social Network movie that they made, I was gonna say Andy Samberg, but that's ridiculous.
Andrew
Garfield smashed that laptop like 50 times. Oof. Maybe even hundreds.
That's a lot of laptops.
That's a lot of laptops to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lucy, thanks for the chat. That was really fun.
That was amazing. I wish we could chat more.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Sue.
And I hope that everything we talked about today, you know, the success will come to us one day and we'll look back to this episode with fond memories. You know?
It's here. We have it.
We have it right now.
The success is here.
It's coming.
It is done. It is done.
Thank you.
Thanks. Ciao.
Bye-bye.